Hello everyone, my name is Kajal Besla and today I am going to present the topic how a bill becomes a law in India. The hierarchy. The Constitution of India was enacted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949 and came into effect on 26 January 1950. The Government of India was established by the Constitution of India. The government comprises of three branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. The legislature at the union level and at the state level. First comes the upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, then comes the lower house, the Lok Sabha, and then the president. The judiciary. First comes the Supreme Court, then comes 21 high courts all across the country, and then comes several civil, criminal, and family courts at the district level. The executive. It is headed by the president, who is the head of the state. The executive power is vested on mainly the president of India by Article 53, Part 1 of the Constitution. So, the president acts in accordance with aid and advice tendered by the head of the government, that is the Prime Minister of India, and his Council of Ministers, that is his cabinet, as described in Article 74 of Constitution of India. Difference between a bill and an act. A bill is basically a statute in the draft form and cannot become law unless it has received the approval of both the houses of parliament and the assent of the president of India. As soon as the bill has been framed, it has to be published in the newspaper for suggestions from the general public. And after going through the suggestions of the people, the bill is amended and then the bill may be introduced in the parliament by the ministers or private members. What is an act? An act is a law passed by the parliament. It is called a bill before it is approved by the parliament. Act can create a new law or change an existing law. It is difficult to change an act once it is implemented. Legislative process. The basic function of the parliament is to make laws, amend them, or repeal them. Introduction of the bill in the parliament. First is the circulation of the bill, then comes passage of government bills. A bill undergoes three readings in each house, that is the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, before it is submitted to the president for assent. After the assent of the president, the bill becomes an act.
Start.
Basic function of the parliament is to make laws, amend them, or repeal them. India being a federal country, laws can be made separately at different levels by union government for the entire country or by the state government for their respective states. First comes the laws for the entire country. The legislative procedure in India for the union government requires that the proposed law or bill passing through two houses of the Indian legislature. Then comes laws for the respective states. The legislative procedures for the states requires that a proposed law or bill has to be passed in the state Vidhan Sabha and then through the state Vidhan Parishad if there exists one in that state. Introduction of the bill in the parliament. The process of lawmaking begins with the introduction of a bill in either house of the parliament. A bill can be introduced either by a minister or a member then a minister. 7 days' notice in writing is required of his intention to move for leave or to introduce the bill. The Speaker may, however, allow the motion to be moved at a shorter notice. Circulation of bill. It is required that at least 2 days before the day on which the bill is proposed, it is to be introduced. Copies thereof must be made available for the use of members. This requirement of prior circulation, however, does not apply to first, the appropriation bills, and second, the finance bills. The Speaker may, however, permit the introduction of a bill first without prior circulation, and second, after circulation for a period shorter than 2 days. Passage of government bills. First reading. The first reading refers to the notion for leave to introduce a bill in the House on the adoption of which the bill is introduced. It proceeds in 3 stages. The first stage is procedure regarding opposing the introduction of bill. The second stage is publication of bills in the Gazette. The third stage is reference of bills to departmentally related standing committees. Passage of Government Bill, second reading, Stage 1. Stage 1 requires discussion on the principle of the bill. The following provisions are discussed. The first, which is discussed, is that bill be taken into consideration. The second is that the bill be circulated for the purpose of electing opinion thereon. The next motion in the regard to such a bill must be for its reference to select or a joint committee. That the bill be referred to a select committee of the House. The committee considers the bill clause by clause. It invites memoranda from the public at large as well as from specialized interest group to place materials and points of views before the committee. The bill will be referred to a joint committee of the House with the concurrence of the other House, same as in select committee. Passage of Government Bill, second reading, Stage 2. The Stage 2 starts by clause consideration of bill. Then comes discussion, which takes place on each clause of the bill, and amendments can be moved at this stage only. Then each amendment and each clause is put to the vote of the House. After that, the amendments become part of the bill if they are accepted by the majority of members present and voting. Then the second reading is deemed to be over. Passage of Government Bills, third reading. The third reading refers to the discussion that the bill as amended and be passed. Debate is confined to arguments either in support or in the rejection of the bill without referring to the details. After that, only formal, verbal, or consequential amendments are allowed at this stage. Withdrawal of bills. Withdrawal by who? It can be withdrawal only by the minister in charge of the bill who introduced it in Lok Sabha. Withdrawal can be on following grounds: the legislative proposal is to be dropped, Second, bill is to be replaced subsequently by a new bill which substantially alters its provisions. Third, bill is to be replaced subsequently by another bill. Joint sitting. Joint sitting of both houses when first bill passed by one house is rejected by the other house, or house have disagreed to the amendments to be made in the bill, or more than 6 months lapse from the date to receipt of the bill by the other house without the bill being passed by it. Who calls the joint sitting? President may call a joint sitting of the two houses to resolve the deadlock. Exceptions. There cannot be a joint sitting of both houses on a money bill or a constitution amendment bill. Assent of the President. Powers of President. Give First power is to give his assent or withhold his assent or return the bill if it is not a money bill with his recommendations for the House for reconsideration. If the House passed the bill again with or without amendments, the President cannot withhold his assent to such a bill. Conclusion. The bill becomes an act after the President's assent has been given. I hope I helped you in understanding the topic. Thank you for being so patient.